We are having a really cool day. We're out from the mill today. Joni had to give a talk to a bunch of girls for some kind of business lady venture thing. So I'm doing her job today. Peon's on Tiny, and I'm running the Big Daddy's on Tiny, and I'm running the cat boom. And things are going pretty smooth so far. George's been having a little knick-knack trouble. He goes, "Today is not my day." I said, "Buddy, that happens to all of us. Don't sweat it." So, other than Jordan's little stuff that he's got going on, everything's going pretty smooth. I'm going to set you all up here. And we'll do a little commentary. This week's been going pretty daggone good, I have to say. It's only Tuesday, but so far it's off to a good start. We was rained out yesterday, but we all worked back at the mill. Well, yesterday and Tuesday, or yeah, 2 days. I guess it's Wednesday, ain't it? So we spent 2 days rained out this week, worked on all kinds of stuff back at the mill. I've worked on this, that, and the other, and the guy's got the new Rednauer ready to pull. Got new lights all around it. They went through the bearings, new airbags, a bunch of new air lines, brakes, you name it, it's got. But that trailer's going to be one heck of a good trailer. It's a 48-foot Rednauer, I believe.
Get back, George. Coming over here in front of me.
All aluminum flat. I'm really Big Dan. That's his trailer of choice. He always told me, "Tater, you need to get a Rednauer." So finally got us a Rednauer for Big Dan, and I think everybody's going to love the thing. It's we got it at Casper's auction, and when he went got out of sawmilling, got it at his auction, and haven't even hauled load with it yet unless somebody pulled it today, because it's licensed, insurance, and ready to go. All right, Dad, you ready? Joni's at the talking to them little girls about being a woman in business and stuff like that. I bet all that stuff, and you know, everything, girl power, all that stuff. She usually does pretty good talks with that. She usually does pretty good talks with young ladies and helps them out a bit. She does a lot with that stuff. Very proud of her on that. But I've been back here running her rig, and it's had rattles and stuff, and it needs a little love. But we're giving it a little bit of love as we go. And it's going pretty smooth, and I will start out a bit rusty, but I'm starting to get back in the groove a little bit. I'm still rusty, but I'm starting to get my groove back. You in there, Dad? I think he's looking at stuff. Let's see if we got it. Guys, I just want to come in here and say I'm not going to do any editing on this. I have been busier than a cat covering up poopy. But this video's got some good content in it, and I'm just going to let her play it as it is. Those of you that's interested in processing timber and stuff like that, I talk a lot about how I cut up wood and stuff like that, and things of that nature. So those of you that's into logging and stuff like that will probably get something out of this. But those of you that's not might not. But I just want to say I'm not going to do a bunch of editing stuff on this because I'm out of time, and I got to move on.
But I hope y'all enjoy this. Thank you all so much for everything you do for me. Thank you, guys. Toodaloo. Bye.
I'll tell you, I took my garden out the other day, about the end of the second week in October, I think, or third week, and I was too quick. We've had nothing but warm weather since. I could have, usually the second week in November, sometime around that's when I take my garden out. And I got nervous and took it out early this year because I'm afraid my maters get all frozen. There he goes, he's ready now. He's like, by golly, I'm gonna give me a snack. Well, snack away, Big Daddy. We got this old buddy. This here is sweet gum, what you're looking at. And there we go. That was the air wasn't on. That was okay. Yeah, I think we got some cool coming out now. Trying to run these windows shut so I can talk to y'all.
We're going to that top state of this fucking tree. You'll ride 5 feet before I could reach it. Then decide to go ahead and break off.
Okay, so this is sweet gum, and what sweet gum does is it's pallet wood for us. I'm kind of shooting for 10s and 14s. You're, you know, some logs you cut, some trees you cut up for yield, and other trees you cut up for grade. And then there's a bunch of trees in the middle where you try to kind of wing it for both. It's really an experience thing, and it takes a while to get the hang of it. And it's most of the time in a hardwood logging company you'll see the boss in the boom. I ain't the boss, Big Mama is, and she usually runs the boom. I'm just her backup when she's not able to do it. The reason being is because whoever cuts up the logs needs to be pretty daggone keen on what costs you money, what makes you money, your actual cost of what the wood's worth. Because I get, you know, you throw some species up there and you want to know what the prices are before you really cut it up. And some species you're just cutting for pallets, so you're like, I'm just going to utilize all the yield I can and then go from there. And knuckle boom loader, the thing about a knuckle boom loader, those of you not familiar with one, is there's so many moving parts on one, and there's some of them are feeble parts, like the knuckle, the grapple tongs, things of that nature. So you really got to be careful as an operator. So you got to stay, what I'm trying to say is you got to stay focused as an operator also to take care of your machine. All right, Big Daddy, these are coming in. Cause you end up with little knickknacks, blowed hoses, broken pins, cracked welds, and as you dub roll out pretty good. So you kind of got to be soft with your machine and also think like a business owner. So a lot of people, a lot of hardwood jobs you go to, you'll find the boss right there in the knuckle boom. And there's no exception here. Except for in the past, as we done things, we didn't have a boss in the boom for a long time. And I don't know what kind of money we lost there doing that, but you got to, as you're growing and going through pains and all that stuff, you got to pick your priorities and attack them and learn and go and move on and keep getting stronger and more intelligent and go from there. So we kind of had to wing it there for a few years, but we had some pretty good people that did a pretty good job. I ain't running them down or nothing by any means. We had some good operators, but like I said, you need to feel when you make the wrong cut, you need to feel that cut. You know, that helps you, really helps you get better. Now Robin, he does a lot of the processing, but they used to run their own logging company. He's kind of chilled out now. You know, he's a little older. He kind of chilled out, looking for a place to just kind of enjoy himself till he retires. But he's really got it. He really knows, you know, because they run their own logging company for years. So he really knows what's up, what's on the up and up. Now this here, I'm making my first cut, a sloppy, heavy 9-footer, because I'm cutting that busted off the end. Any unsound wood, rot, pith, shake, or wane, that would be referred to as a bad shake, I guess, in your busted wood would be. But any of that unsound wood, it don't really need to go on the log because it's just trash. It ain't what we're trying to shoot for at the sawmill. And when you go to saw that shaky stuff, busted wood and stuff like that, it runs your saw out. The chunks of crap can fall. You get stuck in your head saw and heat your head saw up. The band, it can get stuck in the guides of the band. You know, or sometimes the band can follow. The band can run out and follow one of these cracks and screw it up. So you kind of get this unsound wood off there best you could. All that is, you can't look at it as a shut and dry case. It's more gray. You got to be more cognitive about it and thinking through per situation. You can't just say, well, we don't cut busted stuff, we don't cut this, we don't cut that. You know, it's just, well, sometimes you do. You know. So this here's a poplar on the left and a gum on the right, and we're gonna cut them at 10 feet because we're only poplar market's only taking higher grade right now. So your lower grade poplar does a lot of pallet right now, and so I'm kind of, when I can, I'm cutting a poplar up for kind of pallet mentality because a big ratio of a log is pallet, especially on these upper logs. See, grade, those of you that's not familiar with it, your grade is kind of like the Pareto principle. The tree works kind of like your Pareto principle on the grade too. The bottom 20% of your tree has 80% of the value in the tree, unless it's a pallet tree, you know, or a low grade tree, you know. So like this poplar is starting to become middle of the road between grade and low grade with the prices right now. So you're kind of giving the pallet. See, I cut this at 12-footer simply because I'm running out of wood and I wanted to clean up some of the unsound wood off the end of it. But your upper poplar logs, you're starting to look as kind of a low grade tree, but the bottom of the tree you're looking at it as grade. Now what grade does is you're cutting for, you're trying to push for length when you can, and that's determined by clear wood and diameter and straightness. That's 14 all day because it's a sweet gum. Now on your that's a sweet gum as well. Probably the base of this tree. And we'll go with that. Sweep. Sweep is called crook. You know, sweep is your crook because of the sweep in this one. We'll go for a get over there. I'm trying to get this big log over there. There we go. Because of your sweep, we'll go for a 10 on this one. And if I didn't, I would have went for a 14. If it wasn't sweepy, I would have went for a 14 on the butt. Because it'd have made a 14 and worked out good for pallet wood. We'll go 14 down here. Why not? There, that makes a good decision. Now we're gonna throw a little bit away off into this log, but it'll end up in the hog anyways at the mill. And the handling with a smaller diameter, oh, it's a long story. The Ultimizer is what does the chopping, and that's what your bottleneck is in your pallet room for the most part. And when you get a large piece, it can have trouble dragging it in. So we cut flitches out of these on the main saw and the big saw at the sawmill, and these I'm trying to get myself stammered up there. Basically, that was a small diameter 14 footer. I was going to cut a little bit off the end of it and save them some handling instead of making it a 10 and a 8. See, and giving up some of that wood, making less cuts because it was straight and going for yield. If that makes any sense. I was kind of talking around, stammering myself, thinking about other stuff. Got a little bitty dinky pallet log out of that. Why the heck not? It's straight somewhat. We'll just do a 10-foot cut. Sawyers at the mill go on about, what's sending in this little tiny stuff? We're like, well, it's paid for. So, work on it, bud. All work on her, bud. Oh yeah, this is looking real good. We're really liking this. Now that's a 12. That's got some bust on it. Let me take this up to 14, see if I can squeeze it out. Let's see if we get any. Yeah, that's going to work just fine. See, because that's a lot of low grade. Poplar, the 2 common poplar, I think, is getting cut in the pallet right now, so ain't hurting a daggone thing going with it like that. Bye-bye. Over the hill she goes, over the hill she goes. This log's a-rolling, over the hill she goes. I need to pull Eric's log truck up here and start loading on it. She's gonna get a bunch of log trucks in the morning, so it'll utilize that pile quite well. And I ain't got many trucks today because she's catching up on other stuff. With Chris and Larry, and I don't think she's got Mark scheduled today. He's a part-time driver, him and Danny are. Danny's been out on medical leave, and we'll get him back here shortly. He drives over number 9. I tell you, it helps these part-time drivers, that helps a bit. Because you only have to have, you know, having a balance. I tell you, I preach the whole cocktail preach all the time, but I'll tell you, a company is like a cocktail. You just, from every direction, you're just mixing your spices. Some people need to work all the time. Some people need to work real cognitive. Some people just kind of lays back and goes at it. You need all kinds in certain areas and certain places. And having these part-time drivers has really been nice for the company. I cut that log short somehow. Don't know how I done that. Well, I know how I mechanically done it. I cut it too short. I just don't know how I sat on the table and done that without not noticing what I was doing. And a grapple on a knuckle bear. Now, I'm not trying to take any light away from a container crane operator, but a grapple on a knuckle bear is kind of like, I feel like kind of like a container crane operator would be, you know, at a smaller level. Here, you're kind of swinging your pendulum there at the end of the boom and kind of chasing to the load, throwing it out to give it some positive pitch, and then so you kind of scoop into stuff as you pick it up. Now, it's slower, so I got brakes on there and stuff like that to slow the grapple down. I got to add friction to the swing. But you kind of swing your grapple and you go into it. You throw your grapples, and then you kind of follow it to the load. I kind of throw it to the load, give it a positive pitch, and follow it into the load. Let me just pulpwood that sucker. Throwing my pulpwood over there for two reasons. One, they're less in priority, so they don't need to be hogging up this key real estate because of loading trucks out kind of out this side. So I don't want to be hogging up real estate and end up stacking logs over there where the pulp's going and swinging a long ways to the truck. So I'm putting the pulpwood out there because it ranks lower in priority, and as the pile builds slowly, but it will build, as the pile does build, it can become a side bunk for Tiny. So when Tiny comes in and dumps, the logs don't get away to where the knuckle bear can't reach them. Works out pretty daggone good. And then that allows the pulpwood not to be stacked over here behind the saw. And then we can throw them logs down there and let them roll on off of it. Good timing, Big Daddy. There you go, Phil. Back her on in there, buddy. I asked Big Daddy if he wants this today. He said, nope, I'll chill out and Tiny. He said I can use a little peace and quiet. I tell you, it is so peaceful. Tiny is the most peaceful job. It just laid back. I told Jordan I thought Mama was going to be here. I'll probably run Tiny tomorrow, and I'll take care of ordering parts and all kinds of other stuff, and catch up on some TikTok pages, maybe load up some TikToks and stuff like that while I'm doing things. That'll give me. Utilize my time, but for the most part, running Tiny, the actual task of running Tiny is just a pretty laid back venture. And I'm grabbing these logs off the top Big Daddy because if I don't have to lift them to go to the pile, I can go to the pile a little quicker with them. Anytime you can get these piles up in the air to where you're going the log truck at that height, just grab it and swing. Man, that speeds the process up quite a bit. Having to lift and scoop and lift kind of slows you down. There it's going. Looking good, looking good, looking good. And it'd be nicer if this thing was on tracks, but it's not. It does fine for us. And Luke, bless his heart, he tried to get me to get a big, like a 250 Tiger Cat when we bought this boom, but I was kind of afraid of it. In hindsight, I probably should have listened to him and bit the bullet and went with it. But we didn't have a detach yet and stuff. You know, now that we got detached, it looks foolish. Well, why do you got a trailer mount broom when you got detachers? Well, what came first, chicken or the egg? Well, the egg in this case. The detach. Then we'll get the chicken later. The track machine. Which reminds me, I'm going to try to get the other lowboy on the road this winter. While Big Dan's finishing blacking. I will throw that right to the pulp pile. Heck with it. Full pulp fat. Oh, it's ash. I'd rather make that pallet. Let's do a 14-foot pallet and just get what we get. right and a poplar on the left, and I don't want to mix the two because that messes with the loader man when he's sorting. So I'll put the poplar in this pile, and I got a scrap pile, others pile over here, and this pile over here will build up the slowest over time as we're logging this, or as we're running this boom. So here's the idea: the real estate that's close to the center, that's real estate you're banging, 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 banging on. And what goes on the extremities, the stuff you got to reach out and grab, that stuff is the stuff you very seldom touch. And what that does is that allows you to keep this thing in close radius and a swinging and grabbing and a going quick and all that stuff with stuff that don't slow you down. You know, how you set up your pile is most of the work. As far as getting your speed, keeping your speed up, keeping your flow up. Once you get your pile established and get your thing self moving, and you kind of rest of it just kind of following through with what you got started.
Coming in.
I was hoping I could wing that and show off for you guys, but as it usually goes for logger weight, I have to do it the hard way and look like a goofball anyways. Okay, here's some long poplar butt. A lot of poplar and gum in this spot that they're cutting. A lot of poplar and gum. That will be, this putt's straight enough, we need to push for a 14 footer if there's an 8 on the other end. Yep. For a 10 in this one if it's got an 8 on the other end. I think it does. So it'll be 10 foot on this. See, and the back side of my table's got markings on it too. So I can, so here's how we can measure. Bam, hit the 8. Bam, got a 10. I'm gonna throw a little bit of slack back there so we get closer to get that other log a little longer. This log's gonna be 10 and it's gonna be brain dead. Come on, get back here now. So the 10-foot log here will get your pallet stock cuts brain dead. And that other end will have a little bit of mess, so she mixes it with her 32s in her length, 32s, 36s, 48s, 24s, and she mixes it with all that stuff, and it'll give it the opportunity to not have waste out of the chop saw either. And our chop saw, our Optimizer, bang the saw. Our Optimizer, which is our smart chop saw in the pallet room, it only has a 108-inch table in length. It can only see, to optimize properly, it can only see 108 inches of the wood. So when you can help it out a little bit, like I did there, make a 10-footer and a 9-footer and some change. That means when the 9-footer rolls in there, it can see all of that 9-footer and it can do its computer math, and it'll spit out some weird boards, some weird cuts. It'll be like it might start with a 48-inch cut, go to 24, then end up with a long whatever, and then just a small piece of scrap. That's because the Optimizer can see that in the get-go and do the math real good. And on your 10-footer, when it throwed it through, when I cut off the other one, it was already thought out for it anyways. So that 10-footer, you can go at it pretty brain dead, click and split, and there you go. Now, let me see here. Let's go like this. Beautiful. The Optimizer's kryptonite is a 12-footer. I do not know why. I'd have to sit down and do some math and think. Maybe someday I'll figure it out. But the 12-footers is his kryptonite. It always throws out scrap with the 12-footers. I do not know why. Something about the cuts and the way the thing. And the Ultimizer can optimize. The Ultimizer can optimize where it wants to cut to make the most amount of money out of that.
Are you on here, Derek? Yeah. Go ahead. Are you on here, Derek? Yeah, go ahead. Derek, are you setting up the woods to make a decision on where you think there's any chance we can get down this woods tomorrow? Oh, we should be able to. I'm all the way over here where we worked through with that first ditch. Okay, you got done with that shithole over there where you were at? Yep, I gotta go back across that deep ditch. I think I got, what, 4 or 5 trees. I'll count them ones on the edge of the field. Okay, great. Thank you. And Robin, we'll take one more load. We have to do a long day. We'll do it tomorrow then, okay? If that makes sense to everybody. Okay, so you're coming back, you're coming back, right? Yes, one more time. Okay.
Big Daddy, he's always good, and he thinks ahead, and he's always thinking of the logging plan, how it's going, and how we're setting time-wise, because you got to have a quitting point. You got to have a spot you're quitting in to match up with your rain. And I don't have my phone on me right now, but I know there's rain coming, I think Saturday. Me and him's working on a rock slide, or mud slide back at the farm. So he's trying to set up to where we can get back there and knock some of that out this evening. Let me park this thing. We did enough knuckle booming. Let's go see if we can get Derek's truck back here and get a log trailer on it.